Okay, so today we are going to be painting up part of the Kaiser's Legion command here, if it would. Alright, so skipping the box because it doesn't want to focus on the box for some reason. But we're going to be doing Legate Lanius. So we've got him primed in gray. And the primary reason for this is because he has no skin showing. So we're best off just going ahead and treating him as all in metal. And so I want the metal colors, even if they're gold in this case, to be showing up over gray. Looks a little better to me, a little cooler. I've gone ahead and tested my gold that I'll be using, which is a mix of two contrast paints. So I've got my Nazdreg Yellow and Iyanden Yellow. And what I'm doing here is I'm doing a 2-to-1 ratio favoring Iyanden Yellow first. But to kick things off, we're going to start with Basilicum Gray for the metallic parts. So that's going to be kind of tops of the pauldron, any of the chainmail that is showing, as well as the sword and a couple other metallic pieces. So, breaking out my fancy brush because, gosh darn it, I paid for a fancy brush, so I'm going to use it. And just get a bit on the tip here. Alright, so to start off with, because the brush is currently at its best, I'm going to get in and do this little underpiece here on the helmet, which, based on extracts of the game file, is metal like that, with the gold being around it. So we will go ahead and focus on just this little small piece first. And that kind of goes under there. We don't have to get a lot of paint in there, we're just trying to get that initial gray. And we can just hit it up with a second coat real quick. So this is kind of using contrast paint to do a non-metallic metallic. And then since that gray part comes around there, we're just going to assume that all of this is the same. That's probably the trickiest part of the whole thing. Then we've got a bit of, looks like chainmail right here, so we're going to go ahead and just hit that with gray as well. Okay, so now he has a belt as well around the front. So we're gonna, that too is pictured more in gray metallic in the images I've seen. So we're just gonna kind of hit that belt. The other thing is, because his armor is all gold colored, having these spots of regular metal will help to break it up and kind of highlight those areas. Then the belt kind of transitions into this wrap there. Alright. Then we're also going to hit his kneecaps. As those are just regular metal as well. And we're going to go ahead and do kind of his under armor here in gray as well, just to, again, just break up those pieces. Sorry if you can't see that, and kind of working up and under. Okay. Next kneecap. Just get around there, make sure that's joined. The underside of this plate. Alright, and then this kind of patterned top of his shoulder pauldron is also a gray. So come in here. Now, with the exception of the under armor, if you just want to do regular metallics, you just break out a bolt gun metal or similar darker, non-shiny metal. Kind of an oxymoron there, but not a silver, but more of a steel or pig iron, something like that. Get his other shoulder here. And the same holds true of the gold. I just wanted to try something different and do the metallics like this. Now, the under part there of his armor, and then a little bit on his right arm. Kind of there, we go, under that. Now, for this giant sword, same thing. The under part. I'm going to kind of leave the grip there a bit. And I'm going to come back, touch that up with a bit of gold, because otherwise it's kind of boring. This, I think, is like a leather backstop almost. And then we have the rest of the grip. Kind of get around underneath that there. So I'll take all of that and put it as brown, except there, I think. Yeah. Brown's dark enough, then it'll be fine for the wrap. Okay. So that's all we need for that metallic gray a bit. So let's go back, look at the original parts we did over. See if there's anywhere it's pulling away from that I need to, like right there. Same with the shoulders, back of the head here. Make sure I didn't just rub that off. Alright. So next we're going to do his gloves and his boots real quick. And for those, we're doing Black Templar. Sounds like it's about done, actually. So we're just going to hit the boots. Just trying to see where his armor ends and his boots begin. Looks like they just kind of put it there. Pick that out. The other side here. Okay, and then his gloves here. And all the little fingers. And his thumb. Then get the palm. And then when we apply the brown of the grip, that should all stand out. Other hand here. Okay. All right. Should be good. Now, his kilt section is actually a brown. Looking at the pictures, it was hard to tell if it was brown or a very dark gray. I'm going with brown because that's what I want to do. So I'm using Snakebite Leather for that. So just going to start applying this up to the edge of this weird cloak thing he's got going on. So his cloak on his back here is going to be a dark red, and it's basically wrapped around and tucked in the front. So we just have to be careful not to mess that up. Alright. There. And there. Alright. Little bit around the front there. So you can see it comes up, follows that line, and looks good. So the only other spot I want to do is this bindings here. And the grip here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're going to let that dry a bit, and then we're going to start in on the yellow. Alright, so next up we're going to do the gold armor. So again, this is going to be a mixture of, there we go, Nazdreg Yellow contrast and Iyanden Yellow. 2-to-1 Iyanden to Nazdreg. So, and because of the volume, I will do 4-2 to make sure. Didn't want to pick up that last drop. There we go. When mixing, I find it better to go lighter than darker. There we go. The reason behind this being that it's easier to darken something once it's on the model than the other way. Alright. Realistically, all you have to do, especially with contrast, is apply another coat. good brush time. So just taking a look at him, most of his is going to be, you know, the armor, everything but the tufts at this point. So when we apply this, we want to apply it to the top of the piece, making sure we're filling in, and then bring it down. This will prevent any runoff onto the lower parts that we don't want to see. Same on the other side. Just bring it down. Make sure we're getting into those lines there, because that'll really help them stand out. I just have to make sure I'm coming under that knee brace there. Alright. That looks nice. Just a light application of the section above the knee, because there's not much to it. I want to make sure we're not running down into the knee section, especially behind it. Other greave here. As I said, apply and then pull it down and into these grooves. Up at that knee and there. So it's all coming together quite nicely. Bottom of this armor. And I wanted to, yeah, kind of bling his sword up a bit. Not game accurate, but I think it gives it a little bit of color it's sorely lacking. Now, for the shoulders, you notice that I've repainted them a bit. That's because I messed up. The gray is supposed to be the under part with the gold on top. So all I did was just take another gray I had and apply that. It's going to be a bit darker than the surrounding parts, but that should be fine. Never let a mistake bring you down. It's just as simple as returning it to a base color. and starting again. And in this case, you want a light prime on most models, so that if you do have to do something like this, you don't have to strip the model. You're not building up massive amounts of paint. Okay, now his vambraces. Okay, the other side. Oh, and there is actually a very small amount of upper armor there. I'll worry about the backside when I'm doing that. This arm's upper armor is a lot more visible, so hit that now. Okay, now let's get his chest armor here. Getting a nice thick coat on there. And dragging it down. I think that looks really nice. And then the face as well. And his crest. We're getting under the mask's little beard there. And then on the back here, make sure we get this head strap. to make sure we're getting into all these crannies without getting it onto too much else. And then just make sure we're not missing too terribly much. So now we just have to get these back plates, make sure we're covered there. And this arm. Up around the shoulder here. And then the other side. Now these little Iron Man-y spiky shoulder pad things, have to make sure we've got down into them. Okay, so let's re-inspect. Make sure the legs have all flowed where we want, especially in those cracks coming up to the arms. Make sure there's nothing that we've missed. The chest. So as we can see, it's all settled quite nicely into his helmet there. So the face is very picked out and well done. All right. So for the final part here, we're going to do his crest along with, his toga piece. And for that, we're going to use Flesh Terror's Red. I want to go with a darker red than Blood Angels, so that's why I've chosen Flesh Terror. I think it looks a bit better, and as far as what we're going for here. So we're going to start with the crest. And we're just going to apply it. And see, it's also going to go, since it is darker, a long way to fixing any potential mistakes we have with that crest and other paint being on there. So I'm just going to kind of work it towards the helmet here. Again, we want to make sure that we're Starting at the top and bringing it down. I can already see on the gold here I'm going to have to do some touch-up work. Pulling away on that a little. So I'll fix those. One of the complaints I have is the back of this has got no detail. And I've pulled up in-game screenshots and everything else, and this should all be the crest. So, kind of like, did someone just think it was metal back there holding it up, or what? So yeah, that really gives him a nice pop there. The other pieces we have are the fringe at his shoulders, upper arm here. That's too much. Just get this there. Make sure we're getting up and under. Alright, now his toga cape thing. This especially, we had a bit of bleed down from the gold, but the red is dark enough that it will allow us to fix that. There we go. And we're going to go very heavy on this because we really want it to seep down into all the folds and pick them out nicely. Plus it's a large area, so it'll run down as we want it. Obviously we don't want it super thick as we reach the bottom because we don't want it running. tricky part. Gotta get in there and get the top of it. There we go. So without messing it up. Then also have to get inside here. That's right. Alright, same thing here. Okay. So other than a bit of touch-up, adding some more gold into there. Oh, and look at that, pulled away a little. Red needs to be replaced here. This is the Legate done, except for his base, and that there's not much on his base. I'm just going to do yellow. There is this medallion, so I'll paint that up. But we're going to call him done for the most part. I will apply a brown wash to kind of dirty him up a little bit and do the base, and then we'll see what he looks like. Alright, so as we can see, we've got him, of course comes right out of focus. There we go. Got him all done. I applied brown wash to the red parts, to the brown kilt, and all of the black and gray stuff. I left it off the gold to kind of keep that nice warm gold color. So I'm pretty happy with how he's looking. Base is all done. The amulet's there. It's just a little difficult to see. But it's laying there. Got some stones. So now we're going to apply our tufts. We've already sealed it. And we should be all set. Once again, for these, there's a lot of open space. So I'm going to go with a medium tuft. So we're using our Army Painter Highland Tufts again. Just going to dab on a bit of glue. And one should do it for our purposes. And this looks like a nice open area. So we're just going to apply him. So we're going to call him done at this point. So there we go. The Legate in all his finery. I really liked how the back of the cloak came with toning it down with that brown wash a bit. Darkened those creases nicely. Same for his kilt piece. Everything just came together very nicely. So the only other request I've had so far has been to do the Burned Man. So I will plan on doing that for next week. And if anyone has any other suggestions, as I said, from this wave of Fallout or any previous ones, put them in the comments and I will look for them in a future video.